Many people have asked, is January 6th a setup? Were there undercover FBI agents or
Yeah, January 6th was a setup. So here's the thing. I've told this story multiple times now. It never gets any traction, and it has never, ever gotten me questioned by a soul. Not a single authority has wanted to know about this. I organized or was part of organizing two buses to January 6th from Southwest Florida. I was getting people from Lee County who wanted to go, and there was somebody else down in Collier County getting people who wanted to go. We both had a list of people who wanted to ride a chartered bus, and then a wealthy person from this area paid for both of those buses, and we left from his business site. There were news crews there when we left. There were news crews there when we got back. Here's the thing. We left, and I'm an overthinker, and I was thinking that, half of the country was absolutely livid about their election being stolen and would show up in Washington, D.C., so we planned for traffic. We didn't hit any traffic, so we got into DC way earlier than we had thought we would get to DC. We pulled into Union Station somewhere around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Everybody on the bus was still asleep except for me because I worry about everything. I think about everything. And the whole time we were flying through the interstate to get up to DC, all I could think is there's no traffic. There's no traffic. That means nobody's coming. This whole day is going to be a waste. So I knew before we ever got there, because there was no traffic, that the people had not come out in the droves that needed to happen in order for us to, protest a stolen election in the United States of America. Anyhow, we pull into Union Station very early in the morning, and there are almost no buses there. But we pulled up next to two buses that were completely white. There were no markings on them that I could see, and no trailways or anything like that on these buses. They were brand new and they were white, and that's it. So two buses sitting next to each other, we pull in next to them. Everybody on our bus is still asleep because, well, hey, it's the middle of the night and clearly nothing's happening. So they might as well sleep. I'm standing at the front of the bus thinking to myself, what is going to happen today? Because this isn't adding up. There are not enough people here. When the people start getting off of the two white buses, and they are dressed head to toe in black clothing, and they have black helmets, and they get off the bus and stand in single file lines and wait for everybody else to get off the bus. Now, I don't know if you know Trumpers or not, but we're not single file line kind of people. We just aren't. So I'm looking at a bunch of people all dressed in the same black uniform, lining up in single file lines, first one line, then a second line next to it, and they all just stood there and waited until everybody got off the bus and got into that single file line, and then they all walked out in single file lines. That's what I saw at 4 o'clock in the morning on the morning of January 6th. My busload of people woke up. We all decided to go out into and see the president when things started happening. People went and got breakfast, things like that. I met up with my brother, who lives in the area and was serving, and we got to spend some time together. And then we went and walked down the road to watch the president speak. And we didn't go into the grounds. We stood out on the street. You could hear it. And we stood out on the street, and we listened. And before the president was done speaking, we decided to walk back towards the Capitol because my brother had to go back to work and we were just visiting for a few minutes, And so he and I walked along with thousands of other people peacefully and quietly down the street towards the Capitol. When we got to the place where you can either go one way for Union Station or another way for the Capitol, I knew I had to use the restroom. And here's the thing, they didn't have any porta potties out there, almost none for 1 million people. So I said to my brother, I'm going to go back to the bus and use the bathroom. But just at that moment, we turned and looked towards the Capitol, and we could see a mass of people running up the steps of the Capitol. They were all in dark clothing. I could not tell you if they were wearing jeans. They were far enough away that I wouldn't be able to honestly tell you what their clothing was. But I will tell you, from my distance, it looked like dark figures running up the steps of the Capitol. And my brother and I looked at each other, and he said, get to your bus and stay there. I went straight to the bus, took a picture of myself, sent it to Jay Lagace, and said, this is where I'm at while all of that's going on out there. I knew something was not right from the minute we got there. I just couldn't put my finger on it. I couldn't say, something is happening. There were not. It was desolate in D.C. Desolate. It was such a trap. The whole thing was a trap. And the years of torturing people afterwards, really ridiculous. If you watched or listened to the Supreme Court this week and you heard that people from Colorado sit there and insist that there was an insurrection and that anybody who went there shouldn't have the right to run for office or maybe even be free, then you will understand that what I went through in November was nothing more than the Colorado Attorney General trying vigilante justice on me in order to get me for going to January 6th. We have a real sickness in our country. And if you allow these people to continue to destroy lives and say nothing, your life is next, buddy. Your life is next.